Hello, I'm Kamal Vikramanayaga. This video is also being recorded as a part of the full stack web development with the Java course conducted at the IT Center of the University of Peradeniya. In this video, I will demonstrate how to connect to a Git repository that is secured with SSH keys. I will be showing you how exactly it's done from a computer that runs the Windows operating system. I have been investigating how exactly this can be done, and I figured out that there are several ways to do it. Some people use the Windows operating system default SSH tools, and it's also possible to install Git software, and that also has SSH tools packed with it. And also it's possible to use separately downloadable putty tools. So out from these options, I decided to go with the Windows available tools. The operating system itself has SSH tools. So I will show you how to use the SSH tools that are available within the Windows operating system, so that SSH keys are generated and an SSH secured Git repository. SSH key secured Git repository is accessed. So let's see how it's done. Right, first what I will do is I will get the Git software downloaded and installed. It's possible to search the internet and figure out from where exactly you can download it. Git download. So you can download the software from this location. I think I downloaded it previously. Downloads, let me see. Yes, so this has already been downloaded in my system. I will simply open the file. I downloaded putty as well, but let me not install it this time. I will just install Git and use the Windows default OpenSSH client. So I am going to install Git now. Next, so I will install Git here in this location, a default location. Well, it already exists because I tried this previously as well, but anyway I uninstalled, and it's showing me an error message, or else a warning message that a certain directory was already available, but it's already available, but I will proceed. So I am not going to select, I will simply depend on the default options selected. Okay, so Git software was installed, finish, and I should be able to use the Git software directly, for example, to clone publicly accessible Git repositories. I'll show it right now, and then we'll proceed to a secured one. So if I go to the full stack course details page, so here is how the sample code can be cloned using Git. So I'm just showing you how it's done. So if you have a publicly accessible Git repository like this, like the one available here, it's possible to directly clone the repository now because Git has been installed. So let me just create a directory and directory to put the content. So I will perhaps create a folder called full stack. and maybe inside I'll open a command prompt, and I pasted that full command which I copied from the website, this entire command. So Git is being used to do it. Git is being used to clone the repository available here. So it's cloning. Right, so if we look at the content, now you see the repository has been cloned. This was possible because what we cloned is a publicly accessible repository. So the one available here does not require to specify a password or SSH keys. You can just clone. But you cannot push new content to it because it is exposed through HTTPS as a read-only repository. Some other means is required to push the content to it using a different protocol. Let's not worry about that, but I have another repository which I would try to clone. Let me create a directory called Kamal here. And I would like to go to that directory, and let me try to clone Git repository that is secured with SSH keys. So how this is done? Sorry, git clone git.git testing.git. So this repository is SSH key secured. So you should not be able to clone it as it is. So the first time that you try to connect to the server using SSH, the SSH fingerprints of the server is being validated. So we'll simply accept the key, but it is asking me to enter the password. So I do not have the password with me. To clone this, what I need is an SSH key sorry, created, and the SSH key needs to be added to the repository by the repository administrator. So how to create an SSH key? What I will do is I will use this Windows operating system's default SSH tools. So you can search for manage optional features, and if you look here, you will find that OpenSSH client is already installed. If it is not, you should be able to click on that button and install OpenSSH client. The server is not really needed. So OpenSSH client is required to be installed first. So that's the first step. And the next step is go to the services section. Search for OpenSSH. Search for this OpenSSH authentication agent. So this authentication agent, right click on the properties and start type. Perhaps well, by default it will be disabled. Let's select automatic delayed start. So if you do it, you don't have to start the SSH agent manually. If you have manual selected, you will have to take a command prompt and type SSH dash agent, SSH agent starting command. So we'll just have it automatically started. Okay. So the SSH agent will be running now when it is needed. Next test is that given that SSH OpenSSH is installed now using the Windows operating system capabilities, what I now need to do is I need to create SSH keys for the current user. SSH key, two keys are generated. It's actually a pair. When you generate an SSH key, when you generate an SSH key pair, what is known as a public key is generated as well as the private key. It can be generated by running this command, SSH keygen command, SSH keygen. See, generating a key pair, and it suggests a default location. I will just use this as it is. Let's not change this location to something else. But it is also possible to save the file in another location and so on. But the problem is, if you save it in another location, when you try to run the SSH agent and get the keys added, you will have to type the file location always. But this location, for example, I am logged into this Windows machine using the account Kamal, user account Kamal. So C users Kamal.ssh directory. Inside that, ID underscore RSA is the location, is the file name where the public key, the SSH key pair will be saved. Specifically, this save in this file, you will find what is known as the private key actually. So private key is what gets saved here. So I will just accept it as it is. Enter a passphrase. An SSH private key can be saved with a passphrase or without a passphrase. If you set a passphrase, whenever you want to connect to a remote server, for example, to get the Git repository content, for example, pulling the content, or even remotely log into a server, you will have to specify the passphrase. So passphrase is not something that is saved plain text on the system. You will have to remember it. Just to open the private key that is generated, the passphrase is needed. I will go about setting a passphrase, specify something that you can remember. Even without a passphrase, it's possible to save the private key. But then, of course, anyone who gets the private key file would be able to use the key to connect to the systems that you have been connecting without specifying a passphrase. So which is a security concern. Sometimes we do set, sometimes we do create SSH keys without passphrases. For example, to automatically run script when we want to automatically do things. One system logs into another system automatically. For example, consider a situation where the Git repository content needs to be pulled via a script which runs automatically. So in such situations, we might use SSH keys without passphrases. But here I would go about setting a passphrase. When you create an SSH key pair, go about specifying a passphrase. The passphrase is asked again. Same passphrase is entered, and the keys are generated now. If you look at the location users .ssh directory, so here the private key is this and the public key is this, which ends with a .pub. You can even look at by getting a command prompt, for example. So there are two files. The one with .pub is the public key, and the one without the extension is the private key. So this public key is something that you need to give to the Git repository administrator. For example, you can copy this pub file, private file, you should save it without giving to anyone else. Public file, you can even open it. Let's open it. See, it contains a lengthy line. You can copy this. You can copy this entire line and provide it to your Git repository administrator. Maybe you can paste this in an email, but when it comes to the full stack web development course, I have provided the participants with a web form into which you can paste this public key. So that I would be able to add your public key to the repository properly. So that using this public, using your private key, you should be able to connect to the Git repository. Some Git repository providers like GitHub, GitLab and so on may have options to in their websites they might have forms into which you can paste the SSH keys that are generated. So even in such situations, the public key, as you see here, is what you should copy and paste. So even for the full stack course participants, open this file, the pub file, and copy this entire content. Copy the entire content. And this is what you should submit using the web form provided. So what I will do is I will copy this file to another location, paste, and this is not something that you should be doing. I am running a Windows virtual machine here on my Linux system, and I want to access the file from the Linux system, so I saved it here, and I will now be adding it to the Git repository. Right, Git repository. Okay. So let me do it now. I will add this public file, public key, SSH public key to the Git repository configuration, so that this user who generated or who has this who has the associated private key would be able to connect to the Git repository. So let me add the key to the repository now. Okay, so the task was done. I do not need this file anymore. So the public key has been added to the Git repository properly, Git repository security configuration properly, so that I should be able to clone the previous repository that I failed to clone. Let me get the previous commands. So this is what I failed to clone, and see what will happen now. I am trying to clone it again. Now the SSH key has been created. The private key is available on this machine, and the public key, associated public key, has been added to the Git repository security configuration for this particular repository. Right, let me try it. Now the passphrase is asked, so I should be able to specify the passphrase. And the content, you see, the repository got copied, repository got cloned. So if you try to do it again, for example, once it is cloned, you can go to the corresponding directory. So there is a simple text file. If you want to update the local content, you can do git pull. Again, the passphrase is asked. So I enter the passphrase and the content gets pulled. If there is new content, the new content will come. But one thing that can be done to avoid typing the passphrase always is that you can add it to the SSH agent. So once a person logs into the Windows using a certain account, previously you saw that we made the SSH agent to start automatically, and when the SSH agent is running, we can add the passphrase, we can add the key, add the private key to the SSH agent by providing the passphrase like this: SSH add. I simply type SSH add command. Why is that? Let me get a new command prompt, or rather I'll get one from here. Sorry, Kamal. SSH add. SSH agent, which should automatically start. Okay, now it is asking possibly SSH agent was not running previously because I just enabled it in the operating system configuration. So that might be the reason why it was not running. Possibly if you restart the system, it will be running automatically, so you will not have to type the SSH agent command. So now the SSH add command was used to add the key to the SSH agent. Now SSH agent is running in the background. So given that it has been, given that the key has been added with SSH add, you can go to this Git repository that I cloned previously and do a pull. This time I don't expect the tool to ask me to enter the passphrase. Well, it asks, why is that? Okay, so there is another configuration that I should do. So let me close this. Let me set an environment variable. I'll go to the environment variable section, environment variable, and I will define a new environment variable called git SSH. Git SSH, and I am going to specify where exactly SSH client is available. So browse file, C, Windows, and system32, I think it is there, system32, and search for OpenSSH, and then select this SSH executable. See? So we set the git underscore SSH environment variable so that Git will use this executable which knows about the SSH agent that got started, that we added the SSH key into. So once this is done, press OK, OK, and let's go back to the Git repository that was cloned. I'll get a new command prompt, and let me try git pull now. Okay, so you see there was no need to specify the passphrase. Earlier the passphrase was asked because Git was using not the operating system default available SSH client. Git has its own SSH client, so it was using that which was looking for the SSH agent in a different place. So now the operating system's own SSH agent is running, and we used SSH add to add the key to it, and at that point the passphrase was asked. So once so then of course after the SSH agent is added with the SSH key, you don't have to type the passphrase again. But if you restart the machine, then you will have to again do the steps. That is, you will have to, if you relog into the machine, you will have to type SSH add, get a command prompt, and simply run the SSH add command. At that point, the passphrase will be asked. You enter the passphrase. Again, without typing passphrase, you will be able to perform Git operations. Okay, I suppose now you know how to set up the Windows operating system, Windows computer with the SSH key and SSH authentication agent, so that you can perform Git operations against a Git repository where the repository is secured with the SSH keys. So what you can do is that you can generate the SSH key, and the public key, as I mentioned, you should provide it to the Git repository administrator, so that your public key can be added to the Git repository for you to access it through the keys that you generated. Thank you.